Hello everyone, now let us discuss about various ICD-10-CM codes for hypertension and associated conditions, part 1. Now, whenever we code hypertension or hypertensive diseases, we need to code additionally the exposure to environmental tobacco use. If the patient is suffering from the exposure to environmental tobacco use, which is given by the code Z77.22, or history of tobacco dependence, which is given by Z87.891, or occupational exposure to environmental tobacco smoke, which is given by the code Z57.31. If the patient is on tobacco, that is, he is suffering from tobacco dependence, which is given by the category F17.0. These codes are further expandable. And if the patient has tobacco use, which is given by Z72.0. So whenever we code hypertension, PDX should be hypertension, and additionally you need to code these codes also. Now let us see some of the hypertension codes along with definitions for some conditions. So whenever the physician documents hypertension or accelerated blood pressure or simply high blood pressure, benign hypertension, essential hypertension, idiopathic hypertension, malignant hypertension and systemic hypertension. Whenever you find any of these terms, you need to code I10. And if it is documented as benign intracranial hypertension or pseudotumor, you need to code G93.2. And if it is documented as borderline hypertension or transient hypertension, transient is nothing but temporary. Borderline hypertension or transient hypertension, you need to code R03.0. And for hypertensive crisis, the code is I16.9, and additionally you need to code the type of hypertension. It can be gestational or essential hypertension or secondary hypertension respectively. Whenever we code hypertensive crisis, hypertensive emergency and hypertensive urgency, you need to code additionally, along with the I16 category codes, you need to code additionally the type of hypertension code. So for hypertensive crisis, the code is I16.9, and additionally you need to code for hypertension. And for hypertensive emergency, what is hypertensive emergency? A severe increase in blood pressure with corresponding organ damage. If you see the order, hypertensive crisis is unspecified. It can contribute to hypertensive urgency. Hypertensive urgency is nothing but a severe increase in blood pressure without corresponding organ damage. Hypertensive emergency is more severe than hypertensive urgency. In hypertensive urgency, there is a severe increase in blood pressure without corresponding organ damage. In simple terms, in hypertensive urgency, there is no associated organ damage. But in case of hypertensive emergency, there is corresponding organ damage. So the code for hypertensive emergency is I16.1. And additionally, the type of hypertension must be coded as secondary diagnosis. Now coming to code for hypertensive urgency, it is I16.0 plus code for hypertension. Next, coming to Goldblade's kidney or atherosclerosis of renal artery or Goldblade's hypertension. Hypertension is due to this condition. Hypertension due to atherosclerosis of renal artery is coded with I70.1. Next, coming to hypertension with lesser circulation. Whenever the physician documents hypertension with lesser circulation or heritable primary group 1 pulmonary hypertension or idiopathic pulmonary hypertension or primary group 1 pulmonary hypertension or primary pulmonary arterial hypertension. These are all synonyms. Whenever you find any of these terms, it can be hypertension with lesser circulation or heritable pulmonary hypertension or idiopathic pulmonary hypertension or primary pulmonary arterial hypertension. The code is I27.0. Next, coming to pulmonary hypertension NOS. When the physician simply documents pulmonary hypertension, you need to code I27.20. I27.0 is for primary pulmonary arterial hypertension. And for pulmonary hypertension NOS, the code is I27.20. Now coming to the definition of pulmonary hypertension. Pulmonary hypertension is a type of high blood pressure that affects the arteries of the lungs and the right side of the heart. In this case, the right ventricle must work harder to pump blood through the lungs. Next, coming to hypertensive encephalopathy. The code for hypertensive encephalopathy is I67.4. In the next session, we will be discussing some of the other hypertensive codes. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for further videos on medical coding and CPC training.